right, I'm so happy to be joined by Seattle Seawolves fullback Duncan Matthews. Thanks for stopping by the studio.
Pleasure.
Yeah, well, let's start off with your hometown, Atlantis, West Cape, South Africa. Tell me about your hometown and what stands out, what you might miss about it.
A lot of people might not know Atlantis, like even in South Africa, it's a very rural place down in the west coast of South Africa. A lot of poverty, a lot of crime. I'm fortunate to be one of the people to make it out of Atlantis. Atlantis is probably one of the most dangerous cities, like statistically, in the world, if not. So yeah, for me, I still go back to Atlantis just to it kind of humbles me going back, like seeing like this is where I come from, and it motivates me to make a success of my life and not end up back in Atlantis, because that's the big motivation for me, is to not go back to where I come from. But when I do go back there, there's still this desire to help a lot of people that's there. I won't say I miss a lot of things from Atlantis. Like I say, it's a lot of poverty, a lot of crime, a lot of bad things. So for me, I go back there to humble me. My grandparents still stay there. So I go back there to visit them, humble myself, ground myself, see what the end goal is, what the motivation is. So yeah, that's my relationship with Atlantis at the moment.
Yeah, how did getting out of there also build you? I mean, the whole process of finding rugby and shaping the person that you are, because some of the best people come from the toughest places.
Yeah, Atlantis definitely had a big impact on who I am today as a person. I'm grateful that I had someone in Atlantis that saw potential in me very early on in my career. And he was also the one who introduced me to rugby. I was always just the fast kid. I did athletics, which I think in America we call it track. And I was always the fast kid, and he was like, come and play rugby, Duncan. And for me, it was at that point, it was just the next thing in my life. Started playing, was fairly good, and he spent his December holidays at that point trying to find a bursary for me to go to one of the better rugby schools in South Africa. And I ended up getting into the school, and that was my escape out of Atlantis, my opportunity to get out of Atlantis. So, but to get back to the question of how it shaped me, is that I think when you struggle for like the basic needs in life, there's like this thing in the back of your head, is that it's either you make it out of your environment, or you fall back into what you know, which is crime, gangsterism and all that stuff for me. So that's been a motivation my entire life. Is sometimes like you get home from training and you don't feel like doing something, but that's always in the back of my mind. Like, I don't have parents to go back to. I don't have like a security to go back to. The only thing I have to go, or I can go back to, is something that I do not want to go back to, which is poverty, crime and all that stuff. So that's made me, in my opinion, like one of the hardest people I know. And I think that will carry over into even after rugby, is that I know I have to work hard. Like, I can't just relax, enjoy life, which maybe, there's a fine line to it. But I think, for me, being most hardworking person in the room is a priority.
Well, wow, it sounds like you have an incredible work ethic, and congratulations on making it to the Seattle Seawolves and being here, because that's clearly not a given the situation you've been in. Can we give a shout out to the coach and the coach's name? Yeah,
his name is Daniel Peterson. I keep saying thank you to him for the opportunities he's given me and the sacrifices he's made to get me to where I am. Mr. Peterson, thank you for everything you've done for me, and thank you for all the kids you've helped after me. And thank you very much.
And there is a really cool connection with a few teammates on the Seattle Seawolves with the Blue Bulls of South Africa. Tell me how you got onto that team and your relationship with those guys. Yeah,
so when I left Atlantis, I went to a school called Swartland, and there in my under 16 year, we have a national championship, national week where teams from different provinces, I think in America it will be states, we go play in one big tournament, and then from that tournament they choose a national team. And at that tournament I was scouted by the Blue Bulls when I was 16. So directly after my matric year, I joined the Bulls in Pretoria. We all lived in a rugby house on Loftus Stadium, which is the big stadium of the Bulls. We were 22 guys, and 4 of those guys happened to be Rickard Hutton, which is our captain now, JP Smith, so there's 3, Dan Creel, and then Jade Stichling is a year after us, but he was also at the Bulls. So yeah, we've come a long way, and we have a pretty special connection. That team that year included some very famous rugby players today. For example, Andre Pollard was in there, Piers Kuman plays for Scotland, Ron Jansen van Rensburg. But we, as a team, were undefeated that year.
Wow. But
not just because we were really talented, but we had a really special connection, and that I'm still friends with a lot of those guys, even after we've left the Bulls. And even JP Smith, for example, is one of my best friends. So we built a really special connection in that environment that we were living. And I think it just happened that we were undefeated because of that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure it helps to have guys, once you came over to Seattle, which was what year?
2022, I think it was.
2022. That was the year you guys made it to at least were your Western Conference champions.
Yeah.
I'm sure it helps to have guys that you're familiar with when you're coming to a foreign country and living in Seattle.
No, definitely. Yeah. I think what Coach Clark has done amazingly in the Seattle team is signing guys that are really good guys, like genuine guys you get along with. But it does help that the guys that you come to is almost like a brother to you. Like JP has helped us a lot in our personal lives, understand? So that made it so much easier coming to a team where there's guys that you consider your brother on and off the field, which is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, going from South Africa to the States and to Seattle, what was the biggest difference and the most maybe shocking difference coming to the U.S.?
Yeah. I'm very tentative to speak bad about America. I love America. I think it's the greatest country in the world. But coming here, the biggest, I call it culture shock, but it's the food. Like, it's very different to South Africa. I think it's mass produced. So that's been the biggest struggle for us coming to America, is adapting to the food, finding a specific store that, like, where you go and do your grocery shopping. So we've trialed a few stores and we've settled on what we like. But that's been the biggest culture shock for us, is the food and seeing how different it is to South African food.
Yeah, we know for sure it's mass produced over here. We are well aware.
Yeah.
Hopefully in Seattle, have you found some restaurants or some places you really like in the Seattle area in general?
Yeah, we don't eat out a lot. Because I'm very busy in trying to set up a life after rugby for us. So I'm here with my wife and my 2 kids. So my wife takes on the load of looking after the kids and taking care of the household. So we don't go out a lot, but we like Trader Joe's to do our grocery shopping.
You mentioned you're here with your wife and your 2 kids. What are their names and what are they like?
Yeah, so my kids are named Carter and Bowden. Interesting story behind it that my wife only found out like when my son was 3 years old, is that they're both named after professional rugby players.
No way.
So my youngest son, Bowden, is named after Bowden Barrett, which is a fly-off. I used to play fly-off back in the day, so I used to grow up admiring fly-offs. And the other fly-off is Daniel Carter, which is probably one of the greatest rugby players in history. So yeah, my wife found this out to a friend, and he was like, "So how do you feel about your kids being named after rugby players?" And she's like, "No, we decided on those names together." Like,
there's a little bit of trickery, but just a strong influence
suggestions,
from Dad.
Suggestions.
And she had no idea.
Yeah, no idea. But she loves it, so I mean, a win-win.
That's a win-win. It's a win-win. Great names. And would you want them to play rugby?
That's an interesting question. As a professional rugby player, people don't realize like there's a lot of downsides to it. Like, for example, you can work your butt off and get injured the next day, and all that progress is gone. Also, your hard work doesn't necessarily determine like your outcome, like how successful you are as a rugby player, because in the end it comes down to a coach deciding. You may not get along with a coach, and that could mean a non-successful career for you. So I would prefer my kids to play something where their hard work determines the outcome. Something like golf, for example, where it's just you and how hard you work. Track and field, that's just you and how hard you work. but in the end of the day, it's up to them. But I would, if I could shelter them from the adversities that I had to go through, which is out of your control. Like, you can't prevent injuries, understand? So if I could advise them, I'd say find something where how hard you work determines how successful you are.
Yeah, well, with those names, at least you know they're destined for greatness in whatever.
Definitely, yeah.
When you're not playing rugby, what are we most likely to find you doing?
Studying. Yeah, I actually started a business in South Africa when I studied law for 3 years in South Africa. But it got to a point where I started a business and I had to make the decision of, do I quit rugby, do I quit law, do I quit the business? And I chose to play rugby and continue my business. And during COVID, all of that went south. I mean, like with a lot of people across the world, not just South Africa, a lot of people lost a lot of things in COVID. So for us, we were one of those people who lost the business, but we still have commercial property in South Africa and some property in South Africa. So we spend a lot of time managing those, my wife and I also study a lot. I have a software engineering background. So yeah, I'm trying to just equip myself for life after rugby.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty smart career path to go down. It's always going to be necessary for sure. And definitely. So cool to know all those extra things about you. I am curious, when you said your initial coach was like, you're just fast. Like, you felt like I was just fast.
Yeah.
When did you realize how speedy you were?
Well, I was always fast, but it happened that I was in the year group where there were a lot of fast guys. So I wasn't always the fastest guy. Mm-hmm. Maybe just in our school I was the fastest guy, but the guys that came with me in my year group ended up winning like what we call the national championships. So I had to transition from being a 100-meter sprinter to long jump, high jump, hurdles. So I was a good hurdler. But yeah, I think when I realized I have potential is when I was 12 years old. And I made it to like our national championship for long jump. So I think that's where I kind of realized that maybe I do have some talent.
Yeah, I'd say that's something.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what happened for me. Yeah.
How does the explosiveness help you? And actually, what is your favorite play or move on the rugby field?
Just to answer the question of how the explosiveness carries over, like I'm a fullback, obviously, so I get a lot of kicks on me where, for example, the other team will kick on me and I have to contest in the air with the other player. So that's one of my strengths, is getting up in the air and getting the ball. And that carries over from my because I used to do long jump and high jump. So that carries over from there. In rugby, we have what's called like a counter attack. So it's when someone kicks on you and you have to carry the ball back into play. So that's probably, I wouldn't call it a play, but it's more like a general play. There's no structure to it. There's no method to it. It's what you see, and it comes down to your ability. Like, can you beat the people in front of you? Can you evade them? So for me, that's the best. Not the best. It's the part of rugby that I probably enjoy the most as a fullback.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Okay, we're wrapping things up here with a little game of this or that. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl, definitely.
Why?
I don't know.
Has it always been that way?
Yeah, I hate waking up early. Like, I feel like if I sleep late, I rest myself out, then I have more energy to do more at the back end of the day. So.
I feel you. I'm the best person. I'm the best version of myself at the night.
Exactly.
Are you a phone call guy or a text guy?
Please text. Do not call me. I have ADHD, and I'm a multitasker. I'm not good at it, but like I feel like I can do so many more things like while I'm texting you. Like, I can respond to other people. When I'm calling, I can literally only call. Like, I can't do anything else. So please, text. Yeah.
Okay, so he can get all the tasks done for the day, please.
Yeah.
Sit down at a restaurant or delivery to your house?
Delivery. 100%,
delivery to your house. Yeah. Coffee or tea?
So I've been a coffee person for a long time, but I've started drinking, like, I think it's called black tea. It's just normal tea. Yeah. And I've been having it at night, and for some reason I've been enjoying it more than coffee lately. So I'll say tea.
Did you say you have it at night?
Yeah.
Caffeine, caffeinated black tea at night.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect you?
Not at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I sleep like a baby. Like, if I put my head down, I'm gone.
You're out.
Yeah, I'm gone. So it doesn't affect me so far. So
Okay, well, that leads to my next question. Are you stomach sleeper, back sleeper, or side sleeper?
I try a lot of things. I probably toss and turn. My wife hates it, but I don't get comfortable in one spot. So
Okay.
definitely not stomach, but it's on my sides. That helps with my back a lot. And then on my back as well,
Okay.
but not stomach, yeah.
Yeah, if you were just going to say stomach, I'd be worried about you. You know?
Yeah.
Just, we can't trust those kind of people. Watch a new show or enjoy a classic movie?
Classic, definitely.
Awesome. That's what I have for you. Do you
Yeah,
have a favorite classic movie?
I like war movies, but the one movie I probably enjoy more is Lone Wolf.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Duncan Matthews, it was so wonderful to get to know you. Good luck to you and the Seawolves for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.